They take me and put me in a nice cool place, and then they let me out in the sun the rest of the day, that lady told Henry. So he took me over to one of his friends had rented a cottage for the summer and put me in there and left me in there. And after a while, this lady came in and said they were going to have a feast. I said, "You're going to have a feast?" He said, "Yes." So I looked over there at a basket that she brought in. It was all full of those crabs. And I said, "My goodness, he got crab a feast." So over this long table that she had in there, she started putting newspaper all over that table. And I said, "Yeah, I know what kind of feast they're going to have. They're going to have crabs." And that's exactly what it was. It was about a dozen of people came in there and sat down around that table, and all of them started eating them crabs, taking apart and taking the shells off and eating all the other stuff out of them, and I was watching. And I didn't know whether I was going to get sick and throw up or what.
You didn't like crab?
Didn't like to smell them or nothing. Your daddy had cooked
She didn't like
a few. Well, I had seen how they eat the crabs, but him and Dilly, his friend Dilly, and I saw what they done that one time, but I'd never seen a dozen people sitting around all at one time, everybody eating.
They just threw them on the table?
Huh?
Yeah,
they just threw them on the table?
And you had to put them on that paper there, where all the mess was on the paper, what they were eating. No, they didn't have no dishes there. That's all I could see was all this crab sitting there on that table. And everybody sat down and grabbed theirs, and then sat down and started pulling the legs off and whatever, and the shell would come off, and then they'd eat all the inside of it, just stuffing it in their mouths, just eating.
How many did you eat?
All I did was smell. I get sicker and sicker and looking at them awful crabs.
Why were you there?
I went there with Henry. We went to the beach.
Oh.
We were going to spend the whole day down to the beach. Well, I didn't spend but about a couple of hours till I was red as a beet. And the lady that was running that concession told Henry, says, "You got to take better care of your wife. Says she can't stay out here all day. She's got this white skin there. She'll burn up." And she says, "But I got something here that'll take the fire out of her body and she'll feel better." And she put some kind of salve on all over me. I was completely covered with salve. Because I had on a little tiny bathing suit. The kind they used to wear, little old tiny things. Just little tiny.
You were showing some skin?
That's what everybody wore in those days. They didn't wear the longer ones. That was just, my whole body got burned. Oh, I knew from that day on I was never going to be able to take the whole beach.
Yeah, same issue those had.
That was the
light skin.
only time I ever spent the whole day on the beach, so Henry wouldn't let me.
Did you do any fishing?
I didn't do nothing that day. Sit there in that little cottage there that his friend had. It made me stay in there by myself too in there. But the lady would come in once in a while. There was a couple that had rented the little cottage, one of Henry's friends. And it wasn't Dilly and Maria, it was somebody else. I don't forget their names, who it was.
Where was that?
Huh?
Where?
When?
Where?
At a beach. At a beach where Henry and Dilly and his friends always went crabbing. It wasn't a good beach at all. I went one other time with him down at that same beach with Louis when he was about 2 years old. And you know what Louis done before he went down to the water? He took all of his clothes off, everything. He went bare naked all the way down to the beach. And everybody was just laughing at him. He didn't have nothing on at all. And he went down and got in the water. First time he ever got in the beach water was down there. I don't remember the name of the beach.
Way over.
It's wherever they went fishing to catch crabs. Crabbing, he called it. You know, one time he went crabbing and brought a whole bushel of them back home into my house. And you don't know what he done. He took them and pulled them all out on the lawn, and all the kids, they were screaming and carrying on. And Mary and them, they came out and said, "What in the world is wrong?" And they saw these crabs. They were no longer just on my lawn. They were all over the neighborhood. That was the funniest thing. Oh my goodness. And then your daddy had to go around picking up all his crabs. He cooked them too.
Mm-hmm.
Cooked them in a great big old pot.
Still got that pot.
Put vinegar and stuff in the pot.
Yeah.
Cooked them in the house. That was I just said that was my first meal in my house was crabs. He says, "Good, smells good, don't it? Don't it?"
Yeah, no shit,
Yeah, it smells good, all right. That was my first meal there in that house was crabs.
I didn't know that.
Pulled them in there and cooked them on that stove. And with a great big old pot sitting up there. And them crabs.
So he did the cooking. You didn't do the cooking.
Yeah, he did the crabs.
Me, I stayed out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even go in the kitchen there. You let him take care of that himself.
Who cleaned the mess up?
Huh?
Who cleaned the
He
mess
would
up?
clean it all up. He always would. He always clean his mess up. Yeah. After he, I think he invited Boxcar over to help him eat the crabs that day. Yes, he did.
They were blue crabs. That's what they were.
First time in my new home. Crabs. Oh well.
What time we gotta be there?